Every day I get people email into my website, my own website, nfarage.com. Hundreds of you email me, and sometimes you say, this is a story that you should be covering on GB News or elsewhere. And every now and again, there's one that really is a little bit special. What we got overnight was a message that a preacher, who I think we could probably quite safely call a hate preacher, from Bangladesh, was coming to the United Kingdom. Let me show you a little clip of Ina Abbasi talking about the 9/11 attacks.
মাসলাক ভিন্ন, ইসলামের মূলে তো এক। বেটা মৌলবী 50 বছর সাধনা করেও লাদেন আর মোল্লা ওমরের জুতা বহনের যোগ্যতা তোমার হবে না।
Well, I think that fairly safely qualifies as being hate speech. He's also said in the past that anyone that questions the Prophet Muhammad should be beheaded. And yet, he's coming to the United Kingdom. He's doing several speeches in this country. He's come from Bangladesh. Isn't it odd? People like Laura Southern, a Canadian Conservative, get banned from coming into this country. Geert Wilders, who was an elected member of the Dutch Parliament, gets banned from coming into this country. Yet this man is here and free to tour and spread these messages. Tonight, I ask, is the Home Office asleep at the wheel? Let me know what you think. Farage@gbnews.com. Well, I'm joined now by Charlie Peters, our GB News Investigates reporter. Charlie, this one looks pretty shocking.
Absolutely. I mean, we've seen the clip there of him praising the 9/11 terrorists, describing them as brave lions, and going on also to apply great praise to Osama bin Laden, saying that his followers are not worthy to carry his shoes. That, I think, as a standalone comment, should almost certainly block you from visiting Britain, certainly from giving several lectures. And he's speaking tonight in Birmingham, right now, we believe. But also we have reports that he spoke 2 days ago in Nottingham and is due to speak in London tomorrow night. So this is a speaking tour. Now, it's being hosted by a TV channel called Ion TV. They're not broadcasting the event. They are an Ofcom-regulated channel. But they did confirm to GB News over the phone that he would be speaking tonight. When we put the comments to them, saying, what do you make of these comments here? Other comments made, such as, describing the Queen's Young Leaders programme as evil, and describing Ahmadi Muslims, a persecuted sect within the Islamic faith, as kafir, who need to be beheaded. So extreme comments. When we put it to this Ion TV channel, they said, they weren't aware of them, saying that he was an extremely popular preacher. But indeed, when we looked him up, we found plenty.
If you're a TV channel with a Sky channel, and you've got this guy coming as your guest, why wouldn't you broadcast?
Yes, indeed. And when we spoke to the venue as well, we contacted the venue in Birmingham that's hosting Mr. Abbasi tonight. They also claimed they weren't aware of his comments, and actually told us that he was putting on a kind message to introduce the next generation of Islamic followers into his kind rhetoric ahead of certain Muslim holidays. Now, of course, what we've heard certainly does not replicate a message of kindness.
I mentioned Laura Southern, the Canadian Conservative. I mentioned Geert Wilders, very controversial, but an elected, member of the Dutch Parliament, and with many members in the European Parliament as well. I've asked the question of our audience, is the Home Office asleep at the wheel? Could it be they don't know about this man, or is it more likely they're just turning a blind eye?
In recent years, they have banned Islamists from arriving. Theresa May, under her premiership, we saw Zakir Naik was blocked. He was a scholar, but also a hate preacher. And we also had another scholar blocked in 2021 from arriving from Qatar, from flying from Doha. So we do know that the Home Office has in recent years made these steps for radical Islamists in particular. But clearly, there are so many of these speakers that Britain has had to block over the last decade or so that it must be.
Okay, well, let's for once be generous to the Home Office. I mean, it's always a first on this programme. Have we written to them, Charlie? Are we looking for answers very quickly from them?
Well, they gave a very brief statement to say that extremism has no place in our society, adding that we work closely with law enforcement, local communities and international partners to tackle groups and individuals who sow division and hatred. It was a very brief response and did not address any of the individual comments that Dr. Abbasi had made that we had brought out to them.
Well, and John Speller, the MP, Labour MP, has been very outspoken on this.
Yes, he wants to know why the Home Office has missed it. How can we have situations where other Islamists have been blocked? And this extremely popular preacher, and it is important to note that this preacher is extremely popular. Dr. Abbasi has huge crowds following him in Bangladesh, and clearly some supporters in the Bengali community in Britain, clearly enough to put on a speaking tour. So this former Labour Defence Minister asked, you know, are the Home Office aware of this, or are they asleep at the wheel?
John Speller, Charlie, you and I, we're all asking the same question. It could be that the Home Office didn't know, in which case we will forgive them. But please, when we raise a very specific point, raised by a GB News viewer, and thank you for doing that, don't ignore us anymore, or we'll be back on this case tomorrow. It's your job in the Home Office to keep hate preachers out. I expect between now and 7 o'clock tomorrow for some action to be taken. Charlie, thank you very much indeed.